What's happening? Welcome to the Will Studios. I'm Will. It is late, so I'm going to be keeping my voice down. I'll probably have to lean into the mic a little bit. And try not to say too much. I dropped the glasses a little bit. I didn't like the circle. I reviewed the last video, I guess, is what I should start by saying. But anyway, we progress. I'm just gonna make as many videos as I want, I guess. I don't know, because I guess the whole channel is gonna be about me making a comic book. I do want to have two different types of videos. I want to have the videos where I'm drawing and talking and working on release. Other videos where I'm working on another project, potentially, just for fun. And another one where I review things, where I try to slip into the algorithm a little better, because there's plenty of people that want to complain about the Acolyte, and I saw the first episode. I'll talk about that. I'll watch crap and talk about it again, if that's what I have to do. But for now, I just got off my shift Saturday night, 1 o'clock. Let's do some drawing. One of the things about the comic book release is 30 years in the future, we have two android AI superheroes that there's not really any super villain. They do a lot of cleanup, a lot of natural disaster work, I feel like practically real world, with crime already being low due to like drones, because in cities in this place you'll have drones just sort of plastered up against buildings like moths, and they're tracking things, and then you'll have ground units that can move around, and so cops are kind of playing video games in this world, and they can activate units wherever they need to, and very rarely go anywhere on their own. So if you see a police car in the world of release, it's because something serious is going on, and there's like a SWAT team or something inside. But we've made leaps in AI as well. Let me just start drawing while I'm talking then. So, I don't like that. Where's my black? Let's go to painting. So, the first one, Silver Guardian, he was created first, right? And the goal with these things was to utilize this new wonder material that can work gravity and give them telekinesis, and it was successful. They have synthetic brains, special like crystal computers that I designed, and you'll get to see them. What page is that? In the first issue there, because Silver Guardian's gonna come in here. Where are we at? It's gonna come in and like scan him, and I'm trying to figure out exactly how I'm gonna make this brain look. And I'm thinking it'll be like a crystal with like wires, like wrapped up like it. You see it, like it should look kind of like techno organic. in a way. But I've been chewing on their costumes, and I think the second video is going to be more about the costume design, more about one of the more fun aspects of making a comic book. And one of the it's really challenging when you're actually making something that's like, it has to be unique, it has to be eye-catching in this day and age. Like, I think I'm failing in that respect, so I'm gonna have a quick episode with my thoughts, see if I come up with anything decent. And I hope this microphone isn't catching too much of the noise coming out of my headphones. Drawing the human form, something I've done about a bajillion times, and I'm actually starting to get okay at it, I think. I kind of have the doll in my mind, so to speak. I don't know who's watching this. I don't know if somebody watching this is looking for art tutorials or what. I think that'll probably be one of the different videos I do, because if I could do like 3 videos a day, that would be ideal, according to the rumor. So we'll see. I'm just gonna be going. The genesis for this whole idea was slick helmets, and flying around. That's like it's not what I want it to be about. The first version of this script was way more chill. It was a guy who just had superpowers, and he decided to keep his identity a secret and get a rich backer, right? Sort of an Elon Musk sort of character to bankroll his lifestyle, and he would lend his powers in different ways, right? So he would be doing a lot of the stuff that I'm going to have these guys doing. And then I changed it to make these guys more of like a corporate product, sort of bridging the gap between governments and corporations as far as, okay, who's managing the people in the planet and taking care of people and keeping them safe? Is it the government? Is it superheroes? And that was, one of those quagmires. I'd love to do like the political side of things in this comic book, and I'm gonna introduce like the company that manages these two in episode, like the last half of episode 1. What the hell am I doing with this leg? Freaking, I like the torso right now as far as like the anatomy goes. I like the way these abs shingle together. But I started to lose it. My drawing method is a lot of autopilot and then tuning in and realizing that I've been like just It's like a 3D printer that's gone off of its thing. It's just making spaghetti. It's making nothing useful. It's just wasting material. It's wasting time. Time in this case. Time is material, in my opinion. You do not waste time, so... No, that's right. That's what I was doing kind of wrong, is this muscle was way too over. That's all it was. I like starting with the paintbrush just because it's thicker. I can focus on the basic silhouette that I want. Since we're just looking at costumes, we're going to do just basic lighting. On this guy. I gotta be careful not to breathe like directly into the mic. I'm sorry if I insulted anybody. I'm brand new again at this. I had a podcast back in 2008, and I'm a much different person now. I was trying to be kind of more of a shock jockey, like, I remember at one point I did a dramatic reading of a pornographic comic book. I don't think that got published. I think my producer decided not to on that one. We were too wasted. Yeah, we had a decent, but it was 2008. I wasn't getting paid for any of that. And I was out of stories. I was 22. Like, let me go live. Let me hit rock bottom. Start doing Amway. And then really think, what is my dream? What's my actual dream? Start working on that. And here we are. 7-8 years later. And I'm passable enough at art where I feel confident, like, talking about it as if I'm giving a lesson. Let's give this guy a cape real quick. How long is the cape, though? I think it has to be a long cape. But not, like, all the way, not all the way down. Is a short cape okay? I heard the new Superman's gonna have a short cape. Is that right? Am I misremembering that? He's got kind of a boxy uniform coming out now. It's gonna be all... Look up the picture of him. It looks like the costume was like a size too big. Superman, you think skin tight uniform, because we want to see let's be real honest here. Superhero comic books in general, it's like physique porn, it's like the same people who loved Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo back in the day, they loved seeing the human form in artistic, expression. And now we're making a movie where it's like, well, we gotta make it more realistic. We're gonna give him more of a flight suit. We're gonna give him more, flexibility. And we feel like tights have been done to death. We feel like we've tried the textured tights, and, the Cavill suit looked good most of the time, but then, I'd like it if they just got way better at animating superhero movies, frankly. Like, if we could move on from where we're at right now, I feel like it's a lot of the same animation studios, and they're getting, like, a little bit better at a time. A little bit better. Every time you see a new cartoon come out, a new, like, DC animated cartoon or something, it gets a little bit better. What we need is, like, now. Like, catch up to Japan. Catch up, but you're gonna need, that's gonna be a lot of work, and people don't like to work hard. That's like, that's what's dragging us all down, is people just don't like to work. That's what's dragging me down. Let's focus on yourself. Focus on your fucking self, Will. Piece of shit. Draw your comic book. You stop drawing. What's the matter with you? So the Silver Guardian was the first one, and the Red Guardian is going to be a bit taller. And I was looking at a picture I posted on Instagram the other day of like just a, I just, all my Instagram posts are just doodles. They're like 20 minutes, slap something and post it, you know. But I feel like you should be fast as a comic book artist anyway, and that's my thing. Is I need to get to a point where I'm not polishing my art all day. I need to get to a point where I can just draw it and be cool with it, and not be like, well, I gotta redraw it 4 times before I'm happy with it, and then I'm not gonna be happy with it anyway, and then it's gonna take a year for a comic book to get made. It's gonna take 5 years for a comic book. Well, okay, I've only had this idea for a year, and there I go again. This is the autopilot at work right here. None of this is good. None of that shit. When you're drawing somebody taller, when you're drawing 2 figures and one's taller than the other, for me and the way my imagination just automatically works is I want to make like everything about that thing bigger. Like, you know, it's like, oh, you're you know, Silver Guardian 6'1", maybe 5'10". I want to make him more average height. Let's say like 5'9", because I don't want to be as short as I am. I'm 5'8" in real life. I'm not trying to make a self-insert character. I'm not trying to be like, oh, what short person moments have I had, and let's make that a comic book. No. Maybe for a side character, not the main character. My short person problems are mine. But anyway, the truth is, you really only want to make like 2 parts of them like noticeably bigger, and then by the end of it, it's like you got something. That looks a little better. That looks more like he's like standing in a strong position. Bring his arm in a little bit, because the Silver Guardian was the first successful one, and then they modified it and put it into this guy, because the way these AIs work, the way these autonomous AIs work, where they don't necessarily have to be connected to a network or anything, they are a self-contained entity. That's what these two are. They're like a special classification of AI, because there's the general AI that just helps machines communicate with one another and then interfaces with people. And then there are these guys who are self-contained AI, and there are 3 of them in the series. And part of this is like, it's between them. See, that's starting to look alright. Now we can actually get into the costume design bit of it. Part of coming in to the indie comic space right now, I'll save that for another time. I was going to talk about just the drama that's going on right now. Very few people, I think, are going to be watching this video, are interested in that just yet, and it might just deserve its own video, because last year, I kind of started talking about it last episode. Like, last year, I reactivated my Twitter account and cleaned up all the old BS that I was posting, and I think I only left up one post, and I started to see the people fundraise, because I didn't even understand that there was Indiegogos and Kickstarters. I had never heard of Comicsgate before, because I read comic books. I stopped reading comic books about 2009. Because I just felt like when I started reading comic books, there was a ton of back material going back into the 80s. So there was like Crisis on Infinite Earths was a big event that cleaned up the DC universe, and then Superman started fresh, so I got really into that. I got those old issues. Green Lantern, I was big into Green Lantern, and that carried me through high school and into college years. Not that I really went to college, but like I would be at the comic book shop every Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday was HeroClix night, so I'd be playing HeroClix, and I'd just be working the rest of the week at a restaurant. But yeah, Wednesday was new comic book day, and I would read just on the spot or in the parking lot. I had a really cool comic book shop near me in Gainesville, Virginia, Comics and Gaming. And I remember when they first opened, and I was there, I immediately was like, when are you guys playing HeroClix? Because we were desperate to play HeroClix back then. Anyway, I stopped reading American comic books in 2007. Apparently, in 2016, I'm just going to start drawing the other aspects of the costumes while I'm talking here. In 2016, when Trump got elected, and the whole world kind of lost their minds in a way. So many people just lost it. Anyway, comic books were hit pretty hard, apparently, because just the people that work there are very political, but not just that, they're apparently just into purity tests or whatever. They did not like certain people being Trump supporters, because it doesn't happen very often now. I don't see people like calling each other Nazis anymore. I feel like we've kind of grown past that, thank God. But at the time, it was the whole punch a Nazi phenomenon, and it was very much like, if you voted for Trump, you're a danger to black people, or any minority. And it's like, so we can't make comic books anymore? Like, we're in the business of making comic books. Like, let's hash that out in another arena. We're trying to make cool shit. That's all. Okay? That's what I'd like to do. But that forced a lot of conservative creators into crowdfunding their comic book campaigns and going back to their original IP, which, big silver lining, because here I am, completely disconnected from all of that, and I'm watching season 8 of Game of Thrones and getting real pissed off, you know? Real pissed off. So I'm blocking out sort of where the costume design is right now. You'll recognize Hero One's from the cover, where he's got these. You're gonna have to forgive the tangents for now. It's 1:30 in the morning. But I gave him metallic shoulder pads and a chest plate here, and it just has a 1, because I'm very uncreative when it comes to names. I'd love for a good name to just come to me, like, and maybe it will before it's time for production, because really I can change a name. I got time to change a name while I'm doing the artwork. That's why I haven't fully settled on a girl's name, although I do remember being settled on a girl's name, but I can't remember what the name was. But bracers and gloves, because I like the Space Ghost look. I decided to give him kind of like a t-shirt almost, coming down. And I know somebody is like, if he's a robot, why doesn't he just have a robot body? He has a robot body underneath of the suit. We want people to trust these guys. We want people to feel safe when they're around. We don't want them to feel like they have robot overlords. You know what I mean? So there was a lot of care from a corporate standpoint, because this is Pegasus Industries is the name of the company as it is currently. Once again, names can change. That one hasn't changed since the beginning. But originally, the guy's name was going to be Pegasus. I kind of wanted to do a Yu-Gi-Oh! Homage. I feel like that would be an appropriate way to do it. But anyhow, the first incarnation of the story back in the day, when I was thinking about the original dude, he was going to be Hero 1, right? And the story was going to be about Hero 2 coming around. I have changed that drastically, because I had worked out a whole storyline, and I had started producing it. This was back 7 years ago, and I realized that it wasn't good. It wasn't a good script. It wasn't. It didn't have enough going for it. It wasn't turning me on, and I shelved it. Shelved the idea forever. And I started working on because I was pissed off at Game of Thrones, I started working on my own dark fantasy. I was reading Berserk at the time, and I'm like, man, like, brutal medieval warfare, nothing held back, gory as hell. How cool would it be to tell a story like that? And so I worked up a whole fantasy world. And then I shelved that idea, because I'm looking at it, I'm like, this would be cooler as a video game. And then I start teaching myself how to program video games, and I start working on Unreal Engine, and I go down that wormhole, you know, and did not produce anything there. I produced no, I didn't produce anything. I almost said prototype, but I'm like, it wasn't even really that. there wasn't enough about it that I did. Anyway, we're doing release. Release is going to be... it's the first thing that I know I'm going to finish. Because I have the script done. I have the storyboards done. That was the only reason I reactivated my Twitter. If I had not gotten to a point where I had a strong script and cool storyboards, because I storyboarded the whole thing out and I'm like, this is awesome. And then that kickstarted a new wave of getting better at artwork. I'm going to do a separate tutorial series, so I'm not going to stress myself out too much about this episode. I'm going to post it. This is just... I'll call it just 002, my journey so far, part 2. Who knows how many parts it's going to be. Anyway, I'll add the reflective stuff later. I feel like for me, drawing chromed out anything, I gotta sit here and think about, well, what's it reflecting? Because I'm just going to draw like a warped version of whatever that is. I'm really jealous of some artists who can draw metal real good and who can do all the things that I currently have a ton of trouble with. But I'll get there, man. They're going to envy me. They're going to envy something about what I'm doing, I'm sure. Where was I? Oh, yeah. So, 2023, finish my storyboards, reactivating my Twitter, saying hello to the world again, and figuring out what it is I need to do to actually make a comic book a success. And that's part of what led me to the YouTube channel, because I gotta cultivate an audience. And that's going to be why I have to talk about The Acolyte or something. I have to talk about something that's going on. X-Men 97 or something. To get people to pay attention to me. You got other YouTubers, but that was the other thing. You got other YouTubers selling their comic books out there. You got Yellow Flash is coming out with one. Eric July came out with his comic book company. And that has basically caused like a civil war within the crowdfunding community. And it's like, okay, am I going to have to pick sides? I'm not big enough for anybody to want me on their side. Feel like I fit in more with the Comicsgate people, but we'll see how things go. I'm intentionally not putting my glasses on because I don't want the circle. But then it's like, am I doing this a lot? We'll see. I'll review this later. This is a work in progress, okay? But Slick Helmet. Slick Helmet is like the reason I made this story and another story. And so far for Hero 1, because initially, the helmet design hasn't changed very much, because initially I was trying to think about, okay, what if Apple designed a superhero? And it would just be super minimalistic design. Real sleek, you know, but cool. I wanted the shape of the visor to be somewhat expressive so that I could, like, draw him. Come on, computer. looking like a certain, if you're looking at him from a downward angle, or if he's like looking up through his eyebrows at you, because you think about one of the many reasons Spider-Man is cool, art-wise, is how expressive his eyes are. Ooh. Shoot, have I not even been... I'm sorry, hold on a second. I gotta adjust my canvas so that you can actually see what's going on. Anyway. But if I'm drawing him at like a dramatic angle, it needs to be able to look like cool and dramatic. But then, if I'm drawing him like just looking at something, he can just be... I guess he's always gonna... Anyway. When I'm a real professional artist, that's when you're gonna see me not draw fucked up heads like that randomly. That thing looks like it got run over. I kind of like the way this shoulder looks, though. Like, okay, if I like feel that out a little bit. Sometimes I draw something, I just want to feel out the anatomy a little bit. But anywho, is it too simple a design? If it's just like because that gives him an almost Superman shape, but then... Is this the part that I hate? I definitely hate something about it. There's something about this that needs to be better. Needs to be done a bit differently. How many different ways can I put the number 1 on someone's body? Or just an eye, just a line. Oh yeah, I forgot he has a thing on his head now. I gave him that. Should I just have a crest? But then what's on his... There's gotta be something on his chest. What do you think, Tiger? Spirit of the Tiger. Anyway. Do I like that or no? So, okay, you got... Bring it back to black. You got the chest plate here. And then the 1 could come further down. Another thing I'm thinking is that he can have multiple costumes. I feel like you're going to know who he is because he's the silver guy with the cape. There's not going to be any other silver guys with capes. His cape's going to get tattered all the time. Should I cap it here and give him like a... something up here? I don't want to make it too complex. That looks like... That's a penis. That looks like a penis. No. I can't make it look like a penis. That's another thing I gotta avoid as an artist, is drawing dicks unintentionally. I'm gonna go out and say I think the Little Mermaid thing was an accident. Because, you know, the Little Mermaid cassette cover, it had the golden castle made of dicks for the underwater thing. But then what does Coral look like? Come on. You think Disney's full of sickos? Come on. I'm gonna get a breakthrough here sometime. Like, okay. Is this guy wearing a backpack or something? Because he's obviously going to be number 2. I was thinking, okay, he's red, he's silver, he's 1, he's 2. Thing 1, thing 2. But do I need to rethink that whole thing? Should I get rid of the Roman numerals on these guys? That's what I'm going to have, unless I can come up with something better. Something better. Because he's currently just got a... Ooh, I gotta keep an eye on that. Can't be drawing off the screen where you guys can't see it. He's got a similar thing right now in the comic book, but I'm like, okay. He's just got 2 sticks, and he's got 1 stick. Like, is that cool or is that lame? Difficult to say. Because really, it's the action that makes something cool. A bajillion superheroes have been created. I feel like all the good designs have been done. Like, the new main character of the story is going to end up looking... you know, kind of like a knockoff 90s, like... Remember Grifter? Grifter had a tie, though. This guy's going to have a different kind of mask, but he's going to be the mask jacket style dude. But how do I make that not look like Red Hood? Well, give him hair. How do I make it not look like Grifter? Well, don't give him a duster or anything. You know what I mean? So I was thinking about, like, leather jacket type of dude. The story is about a hero discovering a plot to destroy the world, obviously, to get rid of the useless parts of humanity. See, something about that, because I always... Man, I'd love to have a cool jacket right now. I do not have a cool jacket right now. And people who have known me for a long time would find that shocking. that I don't currently have a cool jacket. I have one lame jacket. That's pretty much it. Hoodies. Anyway. I feel like when a dude gets a leather jacket, it's like modern day, like, this is my armor. You know. Let's give him fists here. I am figuring out that you can get away with just zigzagging lines around sometimes when you want to just get the impression of some clothing. But you got to get a knack for it to get it to look real good. I feel like I'm almost there. I'm going to be known as the almost good artist, as the, man, if it weren't for the autism, like, artist. Like, you can't just have... Because what is the mask look? Can you see his ears? I'm going to say you cannot see his ears. And... should it have any, like, hard components? Should I do some, like, some of these? No, because Grifter had those. I'm going to have to figure out some editing software, so when I go back and review this episode, and I listen to myself just go into the microphone, I can edit it out. That'd be nice. Because this is Hayden. Hayden's going to be an average guy that gets upgrades. That's how I'll describe him. Something will come out of this. That's literally Griffin. That's terrible. When you're on autopilot, and like for me, and I'm suddenly not even thinking about who it is that I'm like drawing, and the fact that I've like designed them and I have their hairstyle, but I think when he has the mask on, he should have like a more, like he should rough up his hair differently. You know, maybe that'll be it. Maybe it'll be like a, give him just a mop when he's got the mask on. And then outside of the mask, he'll have his coif, you know. Hair's another one that I'm only mildly good at. I've just barely started to get the knack for it, and I have to really I'm wondering, what are the comments going to be? I'm going to have you... Someday I'll have comments. Someday I'll have people watching the video, people that I don't know, because I only have 3. We're on the road to 10 subscribers right now. Right now, I have 3 subscribers. I have guy who came in tonight that I've seen before, used to, anyway. Guy that I met at work, person that I work with, and my other YouTube account. Those are my 3 followers. We're on the road to 10 followers. Who's going to be number 4? Will I know them? If I don't know them, is it a real person or is it a bot? We'll see. No, I guess I kind of wrapped that up when I was talking about the Comicsgate thing, because right now it's the Eric July guy, the YouTuber, creates his comic book company and then starts, or I don't know about starts, beefs with other people, Ethan Van Sciver mainly, Dick Masterson, which I don't think Dick Masterson creates a comic book. He has a podcast with Vito. Vito is making a comic book, Super Killer, which maybe I'll back it, because I should be reviewing other people's comic books. I have not read any of Eric July's comic books. There's a whole ecosystem of people surrounding Comicsgate and Ethan Van Sciver, who the detractor sphere, a whole economy just based around people hating Eric July because they feel like he's a liar, and he charged a bundle for shitty comic books, and just everything about it looks like a grift to them. But I've seen some real Rippaverse fans, Gooding brought in 100K. I would love to. Dude, that's a dream for me to make 100K. That's Adam. If I made 100K on release, I did something incredible. We'll see. Whatever I make, I'm going to try to keep 100% of it, which is why instead of hiring a letterer, I am going to figure out how to do lettering. And instead of hiring an artist like Eric July to make his comic book, he went through Glass House, apparently, this studio that networks with South American artists to produce comic books, and it's apparently cheap. I've never had any money to pay anybody, so I haven't even looked into it. But that's where he made ISOM. ISOM made $4 million. And that's where I think a lot of his support comes from, is just the fact that he made $4 million. And people see that $4 million and they're like, I want some of that. I want some of that for me. Why can't I have that? And then, drops down to $1 million per campaign for a minute. Gooding is at 100K, not $1 million, but then he didn't get as much fanfare as the others. So it makes sense that he would have a softer opening. It apparently has a stronger writer in Mike Baron. I've probably read Mike Baron's work before. He did Punisher, right? It's been ages since I read those, his old Marvel work. But I have not read any of his independent work. I should back one and review it. He's got one called Florida Man vs. Hogzilla. What else was it? Gooding, obviously. Although I think I'll pass on Gooding. I need a hook. If I'm gonna buy an indie book, especially because I have like no money, I gotta be real choosy with who I back and what I back, and a lot of these guys are charging $35 um, for books. So I've only backed like 2 campaigns, and I got Cyberfrog, like the Ghost Edition. It was like $20, or was it 15? I forget. It was cheap. And oh wait, I backed 3 campaigns because I got Terror in the Trenches digitally, and I have not received Shane Davis's book. I uh, I decided to back Ascend instead of Inglorious Rex because I was high or something, and I was like, well, he did Inglorious Rex. Ascend is his most recent thing, so that's what I would want to read, is his most recent idea. Because, I consider myself a bit of an idea man. That's what my Twitter avatar is. My X avatar is just me with like a big uh, oversized helmet with a light bulb on it. And we'll see how good his ideas are. He's a way better artist than me. Another one of my dreams, because I'm always going to make release, is someday, because people are going to like the writing. I'm a much stronger writer, in my opinion. We'll see what the internet says to me. It could come back, I'm I might have a longer road of self-improvement ahead of me, but I'm gonna make this work. I have to make this work. I love it too much. But I was thinking about giving the Red Guardian, like, something like that going on with his helmet, so that he just looks more, like, brutal. Because he has less control over his telekinetic abilities. He still has them, but he's not as nuanced with it. He's not a surgeon, okay? He's a murderer. But if I were to drop, because it has to have some kind of motif, if I was going to forget the 1-2 thing, just do colors, but then they would have an even more generic, there has to be a motif. There has to be something. If I made it anything to do with animals or any kind of creature, it would end up looking too much like a Power Ranger. Maybe just like a circle and a triangle, or a shape. So he would be circle, maybe, and he would be square or a rectangle. Trouble is, I would want to keep his helmet design like that. I'll noodle this through. We're gonna figure this all out. But these guys, these three, are gonna do a lot of fighting against each other and other shit, which you'll see. I'll talk about the comic book, but don't go thinking I'm telling you everything. We're at an hour. I'm gonna cut myself off here. And that'll do it for issue 2. Hopefully, I see some people next time who watch this. There's only 2 people. Hopefully, I get 1 million followers and they all come back They all take a trip back in time, back to June 23rd at 2 a.m. and watch me figure this shit out.